Max Pacioretty had a little an interview where he said some things about Vegas that maybe we were all thinking and nobody said yet, but let's kind of go over what he said and give your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say the quotes verbatim, what he said, so that we can all get a context of this. For anyone who doesn't know, Max Pacioretty very recently got traded out of Vegas to Carolina, hopped on a podcast like days after he got traded and had all of this to say about Vegas. He said, when I first got to Vegas, it was weird because there was like no accountability. I'm not talking about in the team. I'm talking about like ever. You couldn't feel pressure coming from anyone else, from the coach to the management. It was kind of a relief when I got there because I found myself being like, I have to reel in and hold myself to a higher standard. But he starts talking about how if he was in Montreal, if they had a season like they had last year, the city would be in riots. They would be in riots. And this is what he had to say about what Vegas, what the city and management within the Vegas Golden Knights had to say about the season that happened last year, which, by the way, they should have made the playoffs and had a meltdown in the last 10 games of the season. He said, I mentioned that at the end of the year, no one is really held accountable. If we had a bad year like this, the city would be half on fire in Montreal. Here in Vegas, it's 80 degrees, it's sunny, we're getting our car washed, getting our organic food, and going back to play golf. It's kind of like we have to police ourselves here because no one else is going to do it.
That's shocking.
It's shocking because A, it's going on, but B, it's so bad that a player felt the need to come out and talk about it.
And the guy who's not even there anymore.
That's what I mean. I don't understand. Vegas was given an absolute gift, in that expansion draft, and they found a way to mess it all up. That team had immediate success. They went all the way to the Stanley Cup final in just their first year, made the playoffs 3 more times, back-to-back Western Conference finals, got a 40-goal scorer in Karlsson out of the expansion draft, got a Vezina winner in Fleury out of the draft, one of the premier places to attract free agents, getting Stone, Eichel, Pietrangelo on relatively good deals, minus the Pietrangelo one, which isn't bad now, but it will be bad. And now they're firing coaches every 2 seconds. Players literally have come out and say they don't want to play there. Like, The Athletic confirmed a quote that said a large number of players around the league have taken notice of how the Golden Knights conduct business and refuse to play for them. According to several NHL execs, most believe that Vegas is disrespectful to their own and take the motto, it's a business, to an absurd level. This organization has messed up a gift.
The word that I would use to describe at least the way they operate is like they're greedy because they got a little taste of that success and maybe they thought, oh, this is easy. Let's just trade first, second, third for Tatar. We don't like Tatar anymore. Okay, trading for Pacioretty. We don't like Pacioretty anymore. Okay, get rid of him for nothing so we can meet the cap floor. Like, they're always just looking for that next best thing. That's something shiny. It's almost like they're like little kids and they want just the new toy to play with. And they definitely took it too far because I think this may be harsh. I don't think they're a lock for the playoffs.
Really, a lock?
I don't think they're a lock. I think they're going to make it. I don't know if they're going to be a lock for the playoffs.
Because of how they're constructed or because of what's going on?
I think all of the above. Well, they lost like Pacioretty, who on his day is a 40-goal scorer. And who's going to replace him on that first line? Is Riley Smith a first-line winger? I don't know. I mean, he might be with Eichel and Stone, right, just because those guys are really, really good. But, yeah, they definitely operate in a way that is not sustainable. We've seen that because, like you said, they had a gift. They had all these assets. They had all these good players. They traded away all their first-round picks. They're definitely taking that. I think that last line that you read, they're taking it's a business to the absurd to like an absurd level is the best way to put it. And now it's coming back to bite them now.
For sure. I think a lot of young hockey fans, including myself, that had never seen an expansion team while they were watching hockey, really got a bad taste of what an expansion team should be like. An expansion team should not be making the cup final, the playoffs, and back-to-back Stanley Cup Western Conference finals in 1 year. They should be doing what the Seattle Kraken have done this year.
That's how it works.
Don't understand how they were given this gift and messed it up. And you talked about this so well. I mean, at risk of sounding like a very general business student, they just buy high and sell low. It's like the worst form of asset management
terrible.
that's possible.
Worst asset management in the league.
at the time that Tatar trade was made for that first, second, and third, I was boggled, and he wasn't even good for them.
They scratched them in those playoffs.
Yeah, I don't understand. And like you said, you know what? I kind of agree. I don't know if Vegas is a lock next year for the playoffs. It's such a wild card. On one hand, they have one of the best teams in the league on paper. Even after losing Pacioretty, I still think they're one of the better teams on paper.
They're good.
No holes offensively, defensively. If Leonard's healthy, I still think he's a top 10 goalie in the league.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, also, they're in a bad division. The problem is they're just so dysfunctional.
Very.
I think the one or two benefits that are coming on Vegas' side here is that, number one, they're bringing in a coach who was arguably in the most on a team that held the players to the most accountability possible in Boston.
Yes,
with
correct,
Bruce Cassidy.
correct.
So maybe he will be a guy to bring some accountability. And second of all, the team is by no means young. They're a very veteran core with a lot of guys who have won cups. So if there is any team to provide some like internal accountability, it would be these guys.
Yep.
I can only imagine though, when they have to sell the farm and they're all young new players, if this like culture of toxicity remains, that organization's just never going to develop players.
Yeah, you have to hope. That's a great point. Once this sort of generation of Knights is gone, like it's going to be sooner than later, then you have to hope that they can sort of establish some culture. And that comes from the top down. You can't rely on the players to form it, because if they form it, once they're gone, it's no longer there. So yeah, they do have to figure that out. I think they got to kind of look at themselves in the mirror as an organization and figure out how they can improve, because they might be on a pretty big crash course, like you said. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content, and find the link to our full podcast and all our socials in the description down below.
Also, don't forget to turn on those notifications to get live updates on new videos that we release.